Hi guys! So today we will start our Unit 1 notes. Notes this semester are going to look a little different because we're not in person. If we were here in class, I would be doing notebook checks periodically to make sure that you are taking notes effectively. Note taking is a really good skill and it's one you're going to need when you go on to college. So while we're in NTI, I ask that you take handwritten notes of our slides, and they will be uploaded into your digital notebook, and there are videos on how to do that. So I ask that you please handwrite your notes on either a notebook or lined paper. Please write everything that's on the slide. There will be lots of definitions, there will be lots of concepts, there will be lots of ideas. I want you to get them all down because they are all important. They all pertain to our study of economics and they will help you in the long run. I also ask that if I say something that helps you remember or helps make a concept stick, that you write that as well because that will help you remember in the long run. So feel free to pause this at any point, take the notes, and then we will continue on once you have everything written down. We will be using these notes to help us study for tests. We will use them to help us fill in graphs. So it's super important that you take them. It's super important that you have them. And I will be taking them up for a grade. So it's super important that you do them. So today we are going to start our study of economics, and we're going to start with the most basics. What is economics? So our learning target is I can distinguish between different types of economic ideas. So usually when people think of economics, they think of money, money, money. And while that's true, economics is much more than just money. It's decisions, it is choices. It all comes down to scarcity and the choices that we make based on that scarcity. So it is the study of behavior. It is not just the study of money. So here we go. Please copy down this definition. Economics is the study of human behavior under the pressure of scarcity. So scarcity, and we will have this definition a little later on in the slides, but just to kind of give you an idea of what scarcity is when we have unlimited wants but limited resources. So economics is the study of that behavior and what we do when we have these unlimited wants, but we have these limited resources. So it's not necessarily all about money. It can pertain to the choices that you make about your time. It can pertain to the choices you make about who you hang out with. It can pertain to so much more than just the money choices that you are making in your day-to-day life. So, in order for us to understand economics, we need to understand the difference between a need and a want. So, there are some basic things that we need for our survival, right? We need food, we need water, we need a shelter, a place to live, we need clothing for our bodies. So, these are considered basic needs and are required for our day to day survival. Wants, on the other hand, are ways of expressing a need. So, these are more things like I want pizza, or I want Mexican food, or I want this style of clothing. So while, yes, food and clothing are a need, wants are a way of expressing that need that aren't necessarily a survival thing, right? So, for instance, I want pizza for dinner. So while I am satisfying that need of having food, my want in pizza is just a way of expressing that need, if that makes sense. So, yes, I am getting that need, but I am doing it in a want fashion because I'm eating pizza, which is something I want for dinner. So, needs versus wants is super important in our study of economics, and it will come up again and again. So, please make sure that you write down the differences between a need and a want. So here is a model of scarcity. You don't have to write it down. We're going to talk about scarcity a lot. So just like I said, scarcity is unlimited wants with limited resources. So when you have unlimited wants, but you have a limited number of resources, it creates a scarcity. So when there's scarcity in an economic system, in a community, in a household, in someone's life, it forces us to make choices. And these choices can be what we produce, how we produce it, for whom we produce it for. So, in the larger scheme of things, if our society has an unlimited want and we have a limited need, so if we have an unlimited want of oil, but there is a limited resource of that oil, that creates a scarcity, and that dictates the choices that we make on how to produce it, where to get it from, and whom to give it to. So please write this definition down. Like I said, scarcity is something that is going to come up time and time again for us. Scarcity are resources that the demand exceeds the supply. So this creates decisions for us to make. We have to decide what to produce, how to produce it, and for whom to produce it. So what to produce, we can decide to produce consumer goods, which we'll define in a minute, military goods, or food goods. How to produce it, we can either produce it on an assembly line in a factory, or we can produce it by hand as an artisan. For whom to produce it, who has the money? Who are we going to produce it for the general community? Are we going to produce it for a specific population of people? And how are we going to advertise it for those people? So scarcity helps us make these decisions and helps us make these choices because we have to decide who we're producing for, how we're producing it, and how much are we going to produce of a certain resource when we have an unlimited want but a limited supply. So for instance, if I want to make backpacks, I need to decide how I want to produce it. Do I want to produce it in a factory on an assembly line with cheap material, or do I want to make it by hand with elaborate material, maybe silk or some material that I have to import from another country? And then for whom do I produce this for? Am I producing this for everyday students? Am I producing this for celebrities? Who will this backpack go to? And the scarcity of my resources dictates the decisions I will make on how to make these backpacks and for whom. So factors of production are the creating of goods and services. So there are three factors that go into our production of goods and services, and that is land, capital, and labor. So land is much more than just the floor that we are standing on. It includes natural resources available for use, and this is often fixed or limited. These are your things like oil or coal. These things will run out, or they are running out, or they're very limited in supply. Capital includes things like tools, equipment, machinery, factories used in the production of goods and services, but it also includes financial capital, and that's the money used to buy these things. And labor are the people and all the efforts, abilities, and skills used to make these goods and services. So this can include entrepreneurs, this can include factory workers, this can include teachers, this can include people who are in the labor force making the capital to produce goods and services. So to go a little bit further than this, just to give you some examples, factors of production like in a school. So what's being produced in a school? So the land that we will need to build a school on, well, you're obviously going to need a giant field to put the school on, a relatively flat piece of land. We're not going to put our school on the side of a mountain because that's going to be hard to build it. We're going to need metal and lumber to build the actual infrastructure of the building. Capital can include the things that are within the school. So while we are teaching you and you are gaining an education, capital can include things like desks and books and Chromebooks and water fountains and pens and papers. It is the things that you need to learn. And the labor in the school are your teachers, your administrators, your office staff, your janitors, your people who keep the school running, who are able to deliver the capital and are able to help students learn. So another example is the farm. So what's being produced on a farm? So when we have farms, it's usually producing food. So if we have a farm, we need fertile soil, we need flat land, we need sunshine, we need good weather. We need all of these things that are going to make the food grow so that way we can produce food for a community. We are also going to need tractors, we're going to need seeds, we're going to need combines, we're going to need those things that are going to help us plant the plants, plant the seeds, and help us harvest them when it comes time. And then, of course, the labor used for that are the farmers and the farm hands and those who are helping us produce the food and get it to production so that it can get out to the everyday consumer. So why study economics? Why is it important? Why is it something that you need to study in order to graduate? Why? So economics, the study of economics helps us all become more informed citizens and better decision makers. So economics is all about learning about behavior. Is it going to help you save money? Sure. Is it going to help you understand more economic laws and things going on in the news? Yeah. Is it going to help you make better decisions for yourself? Absolutely. So the study of economics is more than just money. It is studying behavior. It is helping us make better decisions, and it is helping us learn about the decisions of other people and how it will affect us in the long run. So in your notebook, I want you to take some time and answer these questions. Pause the video so that way you have time to answer. And then kind of draw a circle or a box around it just so I know where it is in your notebook. So I want you to answer, how does scarcity affect your life? And provide an example of items you have had to do without because of limited resources. And if you were able to, were you able to substitute that item for were you able to substitute other items for those that you could not have? And then kind of give me an idea of what that is. So I want you to tell me how scarcity affects your life, provide an example of items you had to do without because of limited resources, and then were you able to substitute other items for those that you could not have? So two of the major units that we will be studying is micro and macroeconomics. Micro is small, macro is large. So microeconomics is economics that deals with behaviors and decision making on a smaller level. So these are individual and business decisions, whereas macroeconomics is looking at the entire economy and the decisions of larger units like the government. So macroeconomics are those things that you hear on the news about laws and regulations that are going into play. It is about, during this time we have been hearing about the economic effects of COVID. That is more on a macro scale because it is affecting a much larger community and the entire economy as a whole. So please make sure to write these down. Knowing the difference between the two is going to be important. And like I said, we will go into more depth later on as they are each a unit in our study. So some other things that we need to know are the different goods and services that we will be studying in economics. So goods are tangible items that satisfy a want. Goods can be things like your iPhone, a computer, a pen, a pencil. They are tangible things that you can hold on to and touch that satisfy our wants. Consumer goods are intended for use by individuals. These can include things like a shirt, a book, a car. They are more intended for an individual person to use, whereas capital goods are goods used to produce other goods. So these can be like ovens in a bakery, machines in a factory, trucks that transport food, tractors because they are helping us produce food. So for instance, my mom bought a Cricut. And so she has a Cricut that she uses for her own fun, for her own pleasure. So because it is used for her in her individual pursuits, it is considered a consumer good. Now, when she goes to use that Cricut and make something for someone else, or for a business, or for me in my classroom, it becomes a capital good because she is producing a good and a service for someone else. So I hope that kind of makes a little more sense between the difference between a consumer and a capital good. Services are work that's performed for someone. This can include teaching, haircuts, home repairs, lawyers. These are things that people do for other people. So this is extra help if you need it. Mr. Sayer is wonderful. He's been teaching economics for a very long time. We will be using his videos throughout the semester to help supplement, to help us answer questions. He will be a lifeline for us as we study economics. So I just ask that you watch the videos, you take notes on the videos. If you have questions, let me know. If I don't know the answer, I will find the answer. We're learning together. As part of our first set of notes, we're also going to talk about opportunity cost. So our learning target for opportunity cost is I can predict how scarcity, remember scarcity is unlimited wants with limited resources, impacts economic decisions and how consumers, you and I, and firms, which are businesses, must make choices. So I just kind of want to sidestep for a second. Businesses in the economic world are often called firms, and they will be called firms throughout the semester. So when I say firms, I mean businesses. So just not to get confused. So let's continue on. So here's a scenario. Grandma gives you $100 for your birthday. Thanks, Grandma. You have three options. You can put it in your wallet and slowly spend it on gas, McDonald's, a movie, and a new outfit. You can put it all in savings, or you can put it towards something else like AirPods or a new TV or a plane ticket. So of these three options, which do you think you would do with the $100 that you got for your birthday from Granny? Me? I'm thinking I would put it in my savings account, but that's just me. Scenario number 2, you have an hour before dinner. So option 1, you lay on your bed and check TikTok and Instagram or play Xbox. Option 2, you finish your math homework. Or option 3, you walk your dog and play with your little brother. So each option that you have means that you are going to give something up if you choose that option. So for instance, if you lay on your bed and check TikTok and play on Xbox, you are giving up the opportunity to finish your math homework or walk the dog and play with your brother. Now, if you choose to finish your math homework, you are giving up the opportunity to lay on your bed and check TikTok or walk your dog and play with your little brother. Now, if you choose option 3, you are giving up the opportunity of both option 1 and option 2, right? Because you can only choose one option. So when we choose one option, we're giving up an opportunity to do the other two. What you didn't choose, you lost the opportunity of doing. So opportunity cost is the cost of giving up the next best choice. So for instance, when Granny gave you $100 and say you put that money into savings, you gave up the opportunity to slowly spend that money at McDonald's or buying a new outfit, but you also gave up the opportunity of putting that money towards something more expensive. So anytime you make a choice, whether that's watching a movie or buying a car, whatever choice you make, you are giving up the choice of the next best thing. So what you didn't choose, you lost the opportunity of doing. Here is another extra video for us. I hope that you will watch it. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'm here for you. We will be meeting in Google Meets, so just let me know.